Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So good to have you all here. And even these words right now that are being spoken are already it, already this. Any thoughts coming up there right now? Those are already this. So there's no me, there's no you, there's just this. Already. So no matter how it seems over there, so to speak, it's this seemingly playing out as whatever seems to be going on. But it's already not you doing anything. So that's the freedom, because whatever is said about this is this already. So you literally can't go wrong. It's this saying whatever it's saying about this. And then maybe this responding. And this maybe feeling that it knows something or feeling not so clear. That's this too, feeling not so clear. Wanting this very badly, wanting whatever it is whatever it is that you want. It's already not you wanting it. It's this. I mean, that's what the pointer already is pointing to. Already, it's all is this. Already, before even anything, before a thought, before a movement, before an idea, before a feeling, before any kind of knowing. And so doing practices are not right or wrong. Doing practices are just this. It's just this doing a practice. Could do a practice for a while and then it could stop. Could meditate for a while, it could stop. It could do self-inquiry for a while, then stop. Something could make sense for a while and then suddenly it doesn't. So that's why it's said there's no journey, because there's no journey to already. I mean, not really. Maybe an imaginary one, and that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with any of it. It's just how it's playing out. It's just this playing out however it plays out. And no one's doing it. And it's not leading anywhere. This never goes anywhere. So there's already no you there to get anything. But if it feels like there's a me there, then that's fine too, because that's just this feeling like a me, feeling separate. It turns it turns out there's nothing wrong with feeling separate if that's the experience there. It was, I remember, there was this, oh, I must be doing something wrong because I still feel separate. I must not have gotten it, you know. No, feeling separate's just this, arising as feeling separate. It has nothing to do with you. So feeling separate is this already, and trying to do something about that horrible feeling of feeling separate is also this. So that's what's meant when it said there's no escape, because whatever seems to be happening is already this. Can't escape it. So this is an open meeting. Everybody's invited to participate. If you have a comment or question, please unmute and jump in. And not liking or getting tired of hearing just this. My God, it's so repetitive. It's so boring. That's this too. I mean, all is this. So what's really getting anywhere? Beautiful stories, lovely stories, fantastic characters, beautiful. And you could say sort of that's the sense of the me is just the need to get somewhere. And you don't even know where, just not here. So that's this too. That's this already. The rejection of this moment is this rejecting the moment. And this is undefinable, not to be cute or catchy or coy. It's because it's everything. So what word pick? Sander before the meeting was saying to me, he was pretty funny because he just replaced the word all is this with all is shoe. So he leaves a voice message for me in Messenger, there's just shoe. All there is shoe. And he went on for like 3 or 4 minutes. It was hilarious because you can pick any word. It doesn't matter the word. It's not you picking the word anyway. It's this.
Yeah, yeah, because the function of words, what they are for, is to take us somewhere. And that's what the story is. The story is words that take us somewhere, give us a meaning. Meaning takes us somewhere in a story. But if there's nowhere to go, we're not going somewhere, then the words are kind of all superfluous and they all mean the same thing. So you can say shoe or whatever. If you're not going anywhere, if you're going somewhere, then it's all very different. Then words mean a lot. But then you're just left with a story always.
Right.
Somewhere in a story, which, as we also notice, tends to be going around in a circle in a way.
Well, it's like when you've heard, guys have all heard dogs barking. This is dogs barking. Because if it's heard as dogs barking, it's hard to take it seriously. But if it's heard as words that have meaning, then it has to be taken seriously.
And at the same time, what's more serious than dogs barking? I mean, how much more serious does it get? I mean, there's aliveness there. That's getting down to it.
Yeah, that's this too. Dogs barking is this. Trying to make sense of this is this. As soon as I find the ultimate truth, the highest.
But that's what the me is, even if it's not saying I'm looking for the ultimate truth, it is looking for the ultimate truth in whatever it's looking for. I mean, a kind of version of it, even if it's just, lunch, a good sandwich or something, whatever it is, it's looking for that thing. And that, like you said, that's this too. There's nothing wrong in that, but it can also wear out because it's a funny little job. Peter, I've really been enjoying your statements in these meetings and in your posts.
Thank you, Dan. I do what I can.
It's appreciated.
But it's yeah, I listen, I resonate, and sometimes it feels like, well, and it's been said here before, ultimately it's all stories. It's when we speak, either we explain something or we make sense of something, and And I think what I'm lately learning is that that's as much this as anything else is as well.
Ditto to what Dan said. I've also been appreciating them.
I'm not used to get that kind of input. I was talking to my sister on the weekend, and I realized how vulnerable and reactive I am because just of the history that we have. And so it, it actually, it kind of, well, I'm being cautious what to say, but thank you, Dan, for your kind words.
Well, I hope they inspire you to be less cautious, and conscious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank
Well,
you.
because I enjoy it. I think it's really good.
Thank
Always good stuff.
A lot has happened in these, it's constantly changing, it seems. And as I say that, at the same time, there is this voice, nothing really happens. Which is a concept that I haven't really gotten, that nothing really happens.
Well, it's funny, Peter, because like I said, I was talking to Sander earlier today, and he was saying to me, well, so I'll pretend like you're me and I'm Sander. So if I say, where are you now, Peter, you would say here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then I have you walk to the back of your room. You don't have to do it, but I'm just saying, let's say you walk to the back of the room, and then I stopped you and I said, okay, where are you now? And you'd say, oh, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So you use here no matter where you are,
Mm-hmm.
or you could say where the body is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I get it. So you mean in that sense, nothing really happens because it's always here?
Yeah, here never, or this, or here. Again, the word, it never moves. It's, it's all there is. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I'm not sure where all that is could.
So this may not be as good an example, but if this was a movie, it's always the movie running. It's not like this movie and then that movie. It's always just whatever is happening is happening.
Exactly, but it's the so okay. It the illusion, I'm just going to say it, the illusion is that this, what seems to be happening now, has come as a result of a lead up of time has occurred till 6 o'clock rolled around. And then we logged in, to the Zoom meeting. Like that's all story. Like none of that's here right now. All that's here is just what's here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you can also see it, Peter. I mean, there are different, I think, ways to understand what that means. Nothing ever happens. It's a very rich statement. But if you say, so, if I ask you what happened and you tell me, oh, this happened, and this, whatever it is, that's going to be a story, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a story about what is meaningful to me about something that I'm looking at, saying a happening. In other words, if I would tell you, no, Peter, I want you to tell me everything that happened, like everything that happened 5 minutes ago, right? You'd be here for a long time. It would be infinite to say everything that happened. And it would be, of course, you wouldn't be able to say, because all you could say is what happened in relation to Peter and in relation to my story, my knowledge, my understanding of what is quote unquote going on. So if I say what happened, all you can say is a story, just a little limited kind of construction of words and ideas and whatever. Well, is it?
Actually, I just did it as an experiment, as you were saying, like what happened 5 minutes ago. It would be like me trying to pull back up some thoughts. There were thoughts,
Right.
and maybe taking a sip of tea or something like that. But mostly, what's happening here is mostly thoughts coming and going. That's
Right. Or just a flow of appearance of
yeah.
somehow. Or is it we call it a flow, but it's just appearance. I mean, we can't say what it is. It looks like changing things we can describe, but that's just telling a story.
Mhm.
But also, when you say what happened, and that means what happened for me, in other words, what happened that's important, that means something to me and my life,
Mhm.
my journey, because my life is my journey. It's my journey toward something. That's what lives are. They're going somewhere. Things mean things in that journey. And if that's if that's not there, in other words, there's no one on that journey. There's no one who these things are meaning things to, except a story. There's a story of a one. But if it's a story about what's happening to us within a story, then it didn't, there's nothing happening there. In other words, a story doesn't make a happening,
Mhm.
except for this happening that it's this appearance,
Mhm.
this energy going on, we can't say. And then we can't really, to say what's happening, of course, we cut it somewhere and we, draw like a slice around it and we give the story and we say that's what's happening. But of course, that's just
Mhm.
making stuff up or
Mhm.
imaginations, as Nkosi would say.
Mhm. Yep.
And that's not what we mean when we say something's happening.
Mhm.
And also, in that sense, it's the same thing happening. As you kind of said, it's like nothing really changes, or Michael said,
Mhm.
because there's nothing to change except in the story.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. But that's what we're always pointing to here. I mean, no happening means no me. And if there's a me, then there's definitely stuff happening.
Mhm. Leighton
Maybe
talking.
you need to unmute.
You're,
Sorry, went on for like 5 minutes with it. No.
pantomime.
I think of a metaphor as, is this occurrence important enough for me to record it in my brain? If I don't have enough space, is it important enough for me to record it for later? Is that important enough for me? Or if I didn't record it, did it ever happen? It never happened. Wasn't important enough for me, so it never happened.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it happened means I recorded it and
Mhm.
I put it in a book of meaning. I
Mhm.
recorded it in the book that has to do with what life means for me. And in my journey. But if it's kind of comes through that there is no journey, that there actually isn't anywhere, in other words, already, like where Michael started out, where it's already, so there's no journey, except maybe there's a play of a journey that's just a play, but it's not really going anywhere. It's not really happening. But if there's no journey, then there's nowhere to put the record. There's nowhere to write it down. I mean, because there's no way to find any meaning for it. If I'm not getting anywhere, I'm not going somewhere. If I'm not going somewhere, then I'm here. I'm already. And then kind of the job is over, right? But it keeps going on, except it keeps going on without me. Because it turns out me is the one who has the job of going somewhere and doing something. And then everything can only be new, always new, because there isn't a record of it. And there isn't an agenda, and there isn't a knowledge of where it's going.
Yeah, and even if it feels old or repetitive or boring or really old, that's just this. If it feels new and never before, that's just this. So here, there's no talk about any me's dying or dissolving or merging back to the infinite or energetically contracting is now expanding. None of that. No.
I'm just laughing because I hear all that,
Yeah, I expect this to be in your next report, Peter.
No, it really is funny, when you go around and read stuff, it's very popular.
And waking up.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
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 And the 24/7 blissful state, like once you've reached it, it's you're there, man.
Yeah, it's funny, nobody's ever said, well, where is this place? You know, it gets a lot of publicity, but never actually seen it.
It's at the
Yeah,
end of the rainbow.
yeah, it's a promise. You know, it's a promise, but it's also, in a way, it's saying, so what is not enough. You know, the rainbow, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, that's the real deal. This right here, well, it's clearly insufficient. And that feeling that this right now is insufficient is already this.
This reminds me in my teens, late teens, when I started to smoke pot, I would get into this state where everything was perfect. And that became like the standard. Like I thought that's how I want to live. No problems. Like you turn on some music and you just go like, wow, everything just falls into place. And I always thought for a long time, I really thought that that place exists and I can get there. Like in the beginning, it was like doing primal therapy or like just you gotta work out all the neurotic things that keep you from being there and so on and so forth. There was a Angelino named Arthur Janoff who invented or who made primal therapy popular, and he talked about the post-primal patient, and the post-primal patient, would be like the enlightened one, totally liberated.
Yeah, the seeking is beautifully and innocently this already. It doesn't mean anything. The seeking doesn't mean anything, only to a me who imagines it's of great importance. And that can go on for a while until it doesn't. And that's just this. Trying to figure this out intellectually is just this. It's not right or wrong. It's like this has no way. It doesn't have a way. It's just whatever's appearing, and what is appearing is not coming from anywhere. There's not like two things, like this infinite nothing, and from the infinite nothing comes everything. No, not two. The idea that this is coming from someone somewhere else is just that. It's just,
That's why they call this radical non-duality, because the radical part is, it's the literal, yeah, I don't know how to put it in words, but I appreciate that, Michael. I really appreciate the radicality of it.
the radicality of it.
It sounds a little harsh, but
I like it.
that's what I hear, you know. It's like if you talk about not two, then it's not two, you know, and it's kind of a strong statement, not
Well,
two.
the beauty of it, Peter, is when even there's a feeling of two is there, is this two, is the undivided appearing as division.
Mhm.
That's where it becomes a beauty, because you're like, wow, that's just breathtaking. Like, really? And again, nothing wrong with taking action. Nothing wrong with reading spiritual books or doing mantras or yoga or inquiry. It's fine. So it's still this. So that's the you never get anywhere if it's all this. And I don't know how it works, and Nkosi doesn't know how it works, and Sander doesn't know how. No, there's no knowing how any of this is going on. If anything is even going on. Who could know that something's happening?
or what it is. And somehow the energy of seeking of me is this effort somehow of wanting to get at what it is, or get at something about it. And there just isn't anything. There isn't anything that isn't already just whatever is. There's nothing extra, nothing behind it, nothing that it means.
Yeah. Yeah,
Implied.
I love it, Dan. Nothing behind. So even the speaking right now, it appears that we're taking turns speaking, but it's just this.
And there's nothing that we can learn about it that will tell us more about what it is or to give us anything.
Yeah,
To
because
add.
there's nothing separate from this to know anything.
And the energy of me of seeking is just this effort of getting that little added thing, something else. And that can kind of wear itself out.
I'd like to briefly share an example of how a story came up. On Sunday night, I realized that there was this empty corner in Michael's room, and I realized I started to make stories, and the first one was he's talked about how he used to read books, and now he's done with reading books. I thought he's making a point and just moved the bookcase out to show that he's no longer reading books and so on. I just made up several stories to explain why the bookcase was no longer there. And then when I brought it up, he said, actually, one of my stories was I bet you they needed the room when Tim Kliss was there. And so that's what apparently happened. But it was just interesting how rather than just noticing something that was different, I needed to create a story around it, or I guess it's just habit.
No, that's the beauty. That's the freedom, Peter. You didn't do any of that. It just happened.
And
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
as you already said before, there's nothing but stories.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Or all his books went digital.
But then there is this kind of seeking mind, seeking person, me or whatever energy that is kind of in there going, okay, well, oh, look at all these stories. Which one is the real story? And how can it, how can I really get at
Yeah, see, in this case,
Yeah.
there was like a distinction between stories that I just made up, and then I thought the real story was that they needed the room when Tim Kliss was there. That seemed like, that's what happened because that's what Michael then
But
confirmed.
is that the real story?
Well, yeah, real story. So what's real?
Just this.
Mhm.
Well, the thing is, the story isn't really appearing to anyone who could be there to say which is the real one. There's no one hearing the stories. There's just the stories.
Yeah, and if it said that, oh, there's the real and then there's the false, and I'm interested in the real, that's just this. So liking and not liking are both this. Preferring one over the other. Just this. Yeah, and the words don't change this. If words are spoken, that's this. And if words aren't spoken, that's this. And so there's just this, and if Nkosi shows up, it'll just be this, and if Nkosi doesn't show up, it'll just be this.
Had a really an interesting day yesterday. I got there's this real powerful sense of survival mode. Yeah, and I'm just sort of listening to everything, and uh, it's really hard when you're in survival mode. It's you know, like and that sense of me is so powerful, and then the sense of, you know, this all this stuff comes arising, this me, this survival, and then the mind, the thinking, and all of this. And yeah, last week when we had the orchestra of a meeting, which was really interesting, I remember the statement sort of by somebody was try to step out of it, try to like just see if you can really step out of, like, and you can't. There is no stepping out of something. It's just happening. And it's just being, I guess I guess my stage, I'll call it, or whatever, just being able to step step and stay in that. It's just happening. It's just happening, like now, this, and I can't, there is no escaping it. There was a you know, just learning, just trying to just be with absolutely everything. And some things are very catchy and very challenging. And this powerful sense of me rockets forward under certain circumstances far more than others. And yet, yeah, I can't move away from anything. Even as I'm speaking now, there's nothing that I can step out of. Whether it's my sight, my sound, and this experience even right now. So I just trying to put that all together and just kind of throwing it out there as I do, or whatever, to contribute or process or whatever.
Thank you for sharing.
Hi, Nkosi, welcome.
Hi,
Yeah.
Michael. Hello, everyone.
Nkosi.
Hi.
Janet, I was just thinking, like, if you're in a movie, you're watching a movie and you're cringing and you're shaking with all the excitement going on, but in the back of your mind, you know, it's just a movie. So, you know, it doesn't affect you personally. Same with, like, you get in, like, you know, stressful situations. It's not happening to you because you're just watching it, you're observing it. But the more you want to try to participate in it, the more it becomes more real to you.
And even the sense of you being the witness is just this already. Nkosi, maybe you can say a few words about just this.
Well, yeah, there is just this, what's happening. Asking of a question, giving an answer, expectation arising, waiting, excitement, smile, blinking, everything is already this. There's no doer of any of that. There's just what's happening. Even when it appears that there is a doer, that's just what's happening. There is no doer. So it's just this, what is, you can call it life, expressing as that. You know, there are no limitations. It may appear as anything. You know, it may appear as a room. It may appear as space, not being satisfied. It doesn't really matter. You know, everything already is an expression of this. So there's no you to find direction. There's no you to find anything, to find just what is. There's no you who's going through stuff. There's no you even to collapse or to fall away. It's just what's happening. So what's happening is already not personal. There's no person here who is experiencing what's happening. That's just what's happening. So nothing belongs to you because there is no you already. And this, what is, can never be known, can never be understood. It can never be gotten because it's already everything. There's nothing sticking out. There's nothing outside of everything to know everything already. There's nobody already who's looking for everything. There's just everything appearing as somebody looking for everything. So, and this right here doesn't claim to have been enlightened, doesn't claim to possess any certain knowledge. This right here is already nothing. There's nobody here. There's just talking happening. Talking arising as an experience, arising because of the experience of separation, arising in this, as this, because there is no separation already. The experience of separation is already no separation. There is no experiencer already. So this can never be reached, can never be gotten. This can never be known because it's already not separate. It's already everything. It doesn't matter even when it seems as if there are questions arising, answers being given, curiosity arising. It doesn't matter. The thought that seems to say, maybe Nkosi got it. So Nkosi is the one. That's just what's happening too. Nkosi never got it. There's no Nkosi here. There was a recognition that there's nothing. Nobody got anything. And even there's already nobody to get anything. There's just this, nothing appearing as that. What's looking out from those eyes is not a man or a woman. What's looking out from those eyes doesn't have any culture, doesn't have any gender or any agenda. It's just what is. Doesn't have any race, doesn't have any color, doesn't have any shape. It's already shapeless. It's already shameless. It's already vast. Doesn't have any location. So there's already nothing to know anything here. There's already nobody there who's gonna eventually find something. There's just this appearing as that. So that's what seems to be coming up here.
Beautiful. Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening? Okay. Thank you, everybody, to each and every one of you. I appreciate all of you. Nkosi, no words. Good night, everybody.
Well,
Right, thanks.
Nice.
Good night.
Bye.